Hey guys, my name is Brooke and I am from Brooklyn, New York. I am doing this video because some things have been on my heart for a few years now that I never ever talk about. I know that the country is in turmoil and talking about race relations, and you might find what I'm about to say not as important as we talk about race. I take race exceptionally seriously, in that I was raised to love and respect everyone, no matter who they are or where they come from or what they choose to believe in. And but the most important part of that is that I was raised to be loving and accepting, but more importantly, to know who I am as a woman of color in this country. And I find that it's exceptionally important for all races to know who they are and to respect and accept themselves and their cultures in order to be able to love others. And with that being said, for the past 10 years, I've been working in an industry that I love very much, very deeply. I've been working in the beauty industry, primarily in the prestige and luxury sectors. Now, just to give you a little light on what prestige and luxury means, prestige would be primarily products that are priced where the Sephora client is, and luxury would be that of your luxury brands, like your high-end products that you might find at Neiman Marcus, at Nordstrom. And then you have mass. Mass products are going to be your brands that you find at the drugstores, household names like Lancome, I mean not Lancome, sorry, household mass brands would be L'Oreal, Revlon, Maybelline, things of that nature that have been around for many, many years and are very, very regarded in the industry. The reason, again, why I'm doing this is because for a few years now, after being in the beauty industry for 10 years as a makeup artist as well as a skincare developer now, the main thing that plagues me as beauty relates to race in the retail sector is that women of color, and I don't just mean black women, I mean Latino women, I mean women that are from India, beautiful women that are segmented as the majority, are the least represented when it comes to the retail market. What I mean is, when it comes to us creating and selling our products, it's exceptionally hard for us to break in to the retail sector. So I want you to think for a second, just a moment, and think about maybe one, I'll challenge you to even 3 retailers that you frequent as a shopper. And I want you to take a moment and think of maybe 1 or 2 brands you might consider or think to be owned by a person of color. And as you ponder that, and I mean retailers that are big name retailers, not your local mom and pop, not your beauty supply store. I'm talking about big name retailers, multi-billion-dollar businesses. Think about what companies they may have that are owned by women or people of color. Well, I'll just be brutally honest with you without getting myself into any legal trouble. There are virtually none. As a matter of fact, the #1 company that is just known worldwide for selling beauty products has maybe now one, after dwindling that product line down to virtually nothing on the shelves, products owned by people of color, a person of color. Why this bothers me is that statistically, people of color, Latina and Black specifically, women, we own the industry, or rather not own it, we run it in regard to our dollars. We are the majority purchasers, the buying power in the beauty industry. It's a fact that 90% of minority women purchase products in the U.S. beauty market. Now that's significant. And what that tells me is that we are the decision makers. And even though we are the decision makers, we're still not given the same advantages or chances when we develop products. We have to jump through lots and lots of hoops. Oftentimes, once we do break into a store, we have to have already capped at $1 million in sales revenue outside of that store before they even take interest in our products. And one of the most hated questions that is posed to me by potential buyers is, are your products made for people of color? I take great offense to that, because just because I'm a person of color doesn't mean that my products are just for African American women. My products are for everyone. No one questions a Caucasian owned line, a European owned line, if they're good, if they like them, if they see them in a publication, or I saw them at a street fair or on Etsy or what have you, and the products are legit, then they bring them in store. But for a person of color, you have to run through hoops. You have to join certain organizations in order to even be looked at by the mass retailer or whoever the retailer is. And even at that point, if you're not capping at $500K to $1 million in sales revenue, they won't give you the time of day. So what I'm here to say and impress upon retailers is that, one, there needs to be way more diversity, especially when it comes to people who are of color that own product lines and develop awesome product lines. You all definitely should stop assuming that a person of color makes products just for themselves. And as a matter of fact, as I think about that, it's actually a telling statement, because if you think that a person is making a product of just for themselves or their own race, perhaps it's because there's nothing on the market for them. But in all actuality, people of color do make products for everyone, just like the product lines that you have on the shelves. Dior doesn't run a shade past the color of the wall behind me, just about, in many cases, with some of their products. You have a lot of other companies that, Butter Pecan Rican, the light milky shade, or maybe the tone of the chair that I'm sitting on is the deepest shade that they run. You have some products, many products, that are chemical based and have propylene glycol and alcohol as the primary ingredient, which riddles anyone's skin, makes it dry, dehydrated, and thus promoting more acne and blemishes. But yet those products are littering the shelves, and people with wholesome, great, unique products that use old world techniques and natural ingredients are left by the wayside. Another problem I have is the second problem I have is the fact that the ingredients that are in most of these products are from the motherland. You have shea butter, you have cocoa butter, which are indigenous to West Africa. There's a huge, great shea butter alliance that has, that is doing great work in terms of making sure that proper funding and money goes back to the beautiful women of West Africa who harvest these ingredients. You have, like I said, cocoa butter and shea butter, but then you also have one of the most popular ingredients right now, which is argan Moroccan oil. Now, I'm just going to set the record straight. Argan oil is Moroccan oil. Just because a Caucasian-owned company took the term, the name, and coined it into a brand and said that this is the only go-to for argan oil, that's not the case. As you see, you turn on the television and many other companies are using argan oil. Argan oil is indigenous to Morocco, okay? That is an African base, that's an African ingredient. But after pillaging the land in Africa for these ingredients, they're brought over here, they're watered down, they're mixed with chemicals, and then you have a feeding frenzy of people saying yay or nay if they work or not, or if they don't work. And most of the time, they don't work for most people because their natural nutrients and the resource of them have been dwindled down. So that's the second problem I have. And then the last problem I have, I take onus with my own community. I take onus with the community of women who claim to want to do better and see better and want better with the lay of the land when it comes to their buying power, when it comes to going into a retailer that doesn't have products that reflect what they would like or would need. And that goes to white women as well. If you want natural-based products, fight for it. If you walk into a retailer that claims to have a product that's maybe 70 to 90% natural, which, by the way, in the prestige market, you only have to be 70 to 90% natural to be categorized and sold as a natural product. So there are products that are claiming to be natural that are not 100% natural. So these are the things that I have to deal with on a daily basis for the past 10 years. One, I feel like there needs to be way more diversity in the retail market for sellers and suppliers like myself. Two, I find that the ingredients being watered down and riddled with chemicals is just ridiculous and harmful to the countries who actually make the proper ingredients, who are looked upon as creating poor things because, you know, some big business has watered the ingredients down and have people pitting against each other thinking that they don't work accurately. And third, I think, you know, the Black and Latina and the Indian community, as well as women as a whole, need to band together and, you know, use their buying power so that there's more diversity. There should be no reason why, and I'll say this in closing, there should be no reason why an industry who dictates or tries to dictate how we look not listen to our needs when we're the ones buying the majority of the products. I have two daughters. Most of my friends are women. I obviously myself a woman. And, you know, if I'm working in the fashion and beauty retail industry, I think it's only fair that products made by people like me that are for everyone, not just, you know, have to sit on the shelf underneath the ethnic category. Like, what is that? What's the ethnic category? Like, you see the same product in another store and it's sold freely on the shelves, but yet if I have a product in this store, it has to be under the ethnic category. That already, on a side note, that takes money away from the seller, the supplier rather, because now everyone who walks by that shelf thinks, oh, this is just for ethnic people and it's not for me. That's not fair. You know, there's a beautiful company that I know I got kind of sidetracked because I get a little passionate about this and long-winded, and you have to forgive me. But there's a beautiful company by the name of Shea Moisture, and my views have nothing to do with this company. They're separate and apart from it. I don't speak for this company at all. But they're an awesome company. They've been around for many years. They're from my hometown, and they're in many retailers right now. They're at Ulta, they're at Walmart, they're in CVS, they're, you know, at Target. And when you go into some locations, they're classified under the ethnic category. When me and many women, white women as well, know Shea Moisture to be a fabulous line for everybody. You know, so it just goes back to the thing of taking ownership and you know, utilizing, or rather not utilizing, but, you know, just making the retailers aware that you want more diversity as well with products that you love. Support the products you love, research new products, research natural products, and, you know, just stand up for products that are good and not always the mainstream that put their feet in the necks of small business suppliers like myself. And lastly, I'll just say that, you know, I touched on this a second ago. I know I got a little off topic because I get a little impassioned. But lastly, I'll say that, you know, women are first girls. And I work in thrive in an industry that dictates, you know, how we're to look and think and dress and act. And it's very, very important that people of color support brands, especially beauty brands owned by people of color. Not to say that you should only purchase those lines. That's, you know, not fair. However, they should be supported more. I have clients that are Black, that are Latina, that purchase the same companies, these big business companies. They purchase the same products from these companies. And they complain to me about how they don't work, so they bounce to this company and the next company. Oh, Brooke, why doesn't this company have this shade? And so I say, try something new. Go on this site, go here, go there. Oh no, it's convenient, I'm just gonna stick with, don't do that. You know, that's turning a blind eye to the situation. Meanwhile, you are 90% of the buying power, but yet you're still seeking for the products that you're craving, but you're not willing to do the little work to support those brands owned by your people. That doesn't sit well with me. So thank you for listening to my rant at the end of the day. I appreciate it. I'm off to make some more beautiful faces next week, some big events. And that's it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, and if you want to check out some of my personal product lines, my eldest daughter has her own lip balm line called Kaori Kiss Natural Lip Balms under my company, Oshun Ra. That's OSHUNRA Naturals oshunranaturals.com. Some great total body products there that are 100% vegan. And Kaori, my daughter's line, her lip balm line is natural. All right, I've been working all day. I'm tired. Good night.